Hello my dear friends, welcome back to another beauty video. I'm puzzling a bit with my lighting right here. Like, I want it to be evenly lit up, but I also don't want to be, you know, white. This is fine, right? Enough rambling about unimportant things. Today we're gonna get into a makeup review. Of course, I love reviewing palettes. And we're gonna review this new palette. This is the Seductive Dream palette by FAB Factory. And this is, of course, a dupe for Huda Beauty, and this time it's a dupe for the Huda Beauty Naughty Nude palette. So yes, it does have the weird jelly texture, icky looking shade in it, but it also has the lovely swirly shades and such, the marble shades. The palette looks lovely. I must say, from all the Huda Beauty palettes that I've seen released and the dupe palettes that I own, the Naughty Nude one isn't really my favorite because it's, I don't know, it feels like less versatile than the other ones. But it's fine, I'm gonna try it out anyway, because it still looks like a very fun and neutral color story. So I'm very excited to try it out anyway. I am gonna do a 3 looks on palette with this right now. So I'm gonna try to do 3 looks for you. I find it a bit difficult with palettes like these because I love my makeup to be very creative and colorful and over the top. And with these palettes I tend to go for simple, neutral, everyday kind of looks that I can wear to school or to work or anything like that. So I always feel like I'm not really getting everything out of the palette while doing 3 looks on palette. Just because my imagination is leaving me a bit when I'm seeing something like this. I'm gonna just try to do 3 looks. I really have no idea what they're gonna be yet. I've already swatched the palette, so you can see the swatches on screen right now. The same quality as FAB Factory always has. Decent quality. I always do my swatches with dry fingers on my dry skin, so no base or anything. And for the fact that I always do my swatches that way, they weren't even that bad. And that's kind of the FAB Factory quality in general. Like, it's pretty good for what you pay for it. It's not the best palette you've ever seen. It's probably not as good quality as Huda Beauty, but for the fact that you only pay €5 for such a palette, it is great quality. The color story is just basically reds. So we have red browns, pinkish reds, reds-ish pinks, I don't know. And then we have that weird jelly shade, which looks exactly the same as it looks in the Huda Beauty palette, so that's quite impressive. I think we've had a long enough intro, so let's just get into the first look. As always, I've already primed my eyes with an eyeshadow primer. This time I'm not using my favorite primer. Usually I use the Catrice True Skin Concealer as a primer, which works absolutely perfectly for me. Today I'm using as a primer the Makeup Academy eyeshadow primer. I've had this for a while. It's not really my favorite, but it works. As always, I try these eyeshadows on a primed base because that is how I do all my makeup. Every single time I do a makeup look, I prime my eyes, so it would be very, very unfair in my review if I wouldn't prime my eyes. So I think I kind of want to go in very easy, and we're gonna get into the more pink shades. I'm gonna be blending the shade Extra Spicy, which is this deeper pink based brown. And I'm gonna be blending that into my outer corner, just slightly. I'm not really gonna be doing that much with it yet, but let's put that in the outer corner. And look at that pigment. Oh my gosh. It is sticking to the creases, so if you're priming your eyes, make sure you don't have any prime creases because it is sticking to that, so it is creasing a bit. But that's my fault and the primer's fault and not the shadow. So I'm just slightly putting that into the outer corner. Not really blending it out yet, just slightly around the edges, but not really doing that much with it yet. Because I first want to build it up and then blend it out with a lighter shade. Lovely, that shade was so easy to build up. Don't know yet how it blends, of course, but do you? Look at that pigment. Amazing. And this is the first time FAB Factory has actually done this with their palettes, but this palette is vegan, which we love on this channel. Vegan makeup is a plus for me. Now we're getting into this lighter shade. It looks a bit more brown in the pan, but I've noticed while swatching it, it turns very pinkish on the skin, at least on my skin. So that will be the shade Seducing. And I'm gonna use that to blend the shade out a bit. Or do I, wait, I have, okay. I am gonna go in with that shade a tiny bit. More like moving that towards the inner corner. But as you can see, that leans a lot more pinkish than it looks in the pan. In the pan it looks very grey toned, but it leans a lot more pinkish. Wait, I want to do a fun shape. Okay, so I'm gonna go in with an angled eyeliner brush and going into extra spicy again. And I'm just gonna be creating a bit more of a winged shape with that. Those two looks are very different. This always happens to me. I can never ever make my two eyes look the same. Okay, I'm digging this shape. This is fun. So then I'm just going in with the fluffy brush again and going back into that lighter shade Seducing, and just towards this inner corner we're gonna be blending that a bit. This is cute. I'm vibing with this so much. I'm just gonna apply a tiny bit of that lighter shade underneath my eye as well, just to keep it a bit more balanced. Just making sure there's some color going on over there as well. Okay, so now I'm gonna dip my fingers into some shimmer shades. So first I'm going into this swirly shade, which is my treasure, which is a bit of a satin. And it's a bit deeper, so I want to make sure I really get that swirl in there. I want to move that right on that edge over there between the different shades, just to get a bit of a transition shade going, you know? And then we're going into this shimmer shade, which is the shade Naked Truth, which is a bit more reddish toned. And I am going to apply that on most of my inner corner over here. It isn't that shimmery yet. Not as shimmery as the next shade I'm gonna use. And then we're going into the lightest shade in the palette, which is Sweetness. This one right here, which is a lot more pink than the rest, which is a bit odd. Like, it's not more a cool toned pink instead of warm toned reddish pink. But I'm just gonna place that like on the inner corner and moving that onto the eyelid. I must say the shimmer looks a bit dry, so it might be better to use a bit of a base for that. So I'm gonna try that on this eye just to see what that does. See if a bit of a base makes a bit of a difference, you know? And now we're going into that shade again. I think that does help. It also makes it look a lot brighter. Like, the sparkles just turn out so much better on this side than that side. Do you see that? Recommendation, do use like a glitter primer or any kind of primer with these shimmers. It just makes them look so much better. Okay, so we used many shades. I'm really living for this look. It's so fun. I'm just gonna finish up this look, add whatever I want to add, and then I'll get right back to you. Okay, I'm back with the finished look. As you can see, the lighting has changed a bit. The sun is setting now, so exciting. I'm sorry about that. But this is the finished look. I'm living for this. These shades of like deep pinkish red. So lovely. So lovely. Okay, so to finish off this look, I used a lipstick from Maxim Moore in the shade Toasted Taupe. The Lenny Lash lashes in the style Dazzle. I added a few rhinestones over here because I wanted something extra, as you can see. And I used my Catrice highlighter, which I have no idea what it's called because I've had it for like 6 years and the entire name on the packaging has been rubbed off. So I couldn't tell you. I really couldn't. But anyway, this is the full look. I'm loving this. Lovely. The shades are also really easy to use. I do, however, recommend using them on a tacky base, like on a primer or something like that. Also the shimmers, like on this side the shimmer is just so much nicer than on that side. It just, as soon as it hits that tacky base, it just pops so much nicer than on a dry base. So that's a recommendation for these eyeshadows. For this look I used the shades Seducing, My Treasure, Sweetness, Extra Spicy and Naked Truth. Let's quickly get into the second look. For look number 2, I wanted to get into this weird glossy shade and do some kind of red glossy halo eye thing. I've never done a glossy eye before. I also think it's not the best thing for my hooded eyes. So we're just gonna give it a try and we're gonna see what happens. But yeah, we're gonna try that weird shade because we have to. You can't just get a palette like this and not try the crazy shade, you know? Okay, I have again already primed my eyes. They're good to go. I'm gonna move to this side of the palette mostly. So I'm first gonna get into the shade Love You a Lotta, which is a matte brown, like almost everything in this palette. I'm just gonna try and blend that a bit into the crease. The pigmentation in this palette has not disappointed me yet. And then we're gonna get into the darker red brown shade next to it, which is Dark Magic. And we're just gonna move that into the inner and outer corner and really lay down that halo shape that we're going for. Don't forget to do the same thing underneath the eye. And then we're just getting in that lighter shade again, just to blend it out. And I really want to keep that round shape in this outer part of my eye. I must say, these shades blend lovely. FAB Factory really has the formula for these brown shades down. And I kind of want to give it a bit more color depth, so I want to go into this orange brown shade, which is the shade Sunset. And I want to try and blend that in the outer edge as well. But look how easily that blends. That literally took me a few seconds. And to help blend those edges a tiny bit, I'm going into the shade Heaven, which is basically a beige. I'm not the biggest fan when a palette has a beige shade because I barely ever use it. It's just useful for blending out those edges if beige is your skin tone. Okay, lovely, we got our matte base down. I must say, one of my only critiques on this palette right now is that the shades swatch very differently from what they look like in the pan. Like, this is a very cool toned brown, it seems, in the pan, but right here it's this shade and it's kind of really orange. It doesn't look similar to the shade in the pan at all, so that is a bit annoying. I'm just gonna get into this shade, the shade Sangria, which is a sparkly red, and I am gonna put that right in the center. Ooh. Did you see that? That is a lovely shade. Then I'm going into this shade called Smoothness, which is one of those lovely marble shades. And then I'm just applying that to the center of my lid, just to get that a tiny bit lighter, you know? So I think I got this base down. This is looking cute. So I kind of want to go in with that glossy shade and see how that works. I'm a bit nervous. I think I'm just gonna first try to go in with my finger and get a really thick layer going on over there and just tap it onto the center of the lid first. Yeah, this is what I was afraid of. It's deleting the shadows that I had underneath. As soon as you start putting it on, it picks up the shadows underneath and it just deletes them. So I'm just gonna try one more way to do it. So I'm gonna try with this silicone brush, just to more like hopefully pick up the shade a bit more and be able to spread it out more. Yeah, I think that's the way to go about it. So I'm just using this silicone brush to kind of scrape it out of the pan. I try to just keep it at tapping and not dragging, because I feel like then you will definitely pick up the shadows underneath. So I just want to try on this eye to kind of get it on the entire eye, just to see how that looks. This is fun for this look, but I don't think I'll be using this shade often. Okay, let me get you some close-ups of everything so you can see what's going on. As you can see, this is a lovely glossy eye now. Because I use it this way, it does look a bit clumpy, but I'm afraid to drag it out too much. But I like the glossy eye idea, it's very fun. Okay, I think I'm gonna leave it at this. My eyes are glossy, however, you can definitely tell that the gloss is still picking up the shadows underneath. So the shade just isn't really made to put on top of other shadows. Maybe it will look cool as like a shadow on its own. Just a glossy eye with a slight tint to it, I don't know. But it doesn't function at well on top of other shades. You can see it looking quite patchy right now, while it didn't before. It's more of a gel, it's really thick, so you can definitely see that it turns clumpy. Like, it's fine, it looks cute, but I think you may be better off just using a liquid gloss if you want to go for a glossy look on top of eyeshadow, you know? So I'm just gonna finish this up, add everything that I want to add, and I'll get right back to you with the finished look. Okay, I'm back with the finished look. Right before I put on everything else, I was pretty forgiving of this gel shade. But now we're like 10 minutes ahead. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. It's the most disgusting thing ever. Maybe I'm using it wrong. I don't know. Maybe it's just my fault. But the way I used it, I really do not enjoy this. Like, I was looking at it up close in the natural light instead of with this bright light that I have over here shining at me. And it just looks disgusting. Like, it's literally taking off pieces of eyeshadow that's underneath, so it looks patchy, it looks chunky, it starts like it starts creasing. Also, my eyelashes don't really stick to it, so my eyelashes are a bit crooked as well. The colors of the shadows, lovely. The shadows blended amazing. I loved everything about this look until I put on that damn gel shade, which, like, my gut was telling me I shouldn't do, but I did anyway, and it ruined everything. Let me give you a close-up of this disgusting gel situation that I have going on over here. As you can see, it's just deleting the eyeshadow underneath. It looks chunky. It's just a big no, especially for hooded eyes. I decided to cover it up with some big ass lashes, but these aren't sticking down over here, as you can see, which is because of the gel as well. So I'm not gonna talk about the gel shade anymore. The gel shade ruined everything. Just know I hate that thing. Things I used to finish this look. First of all, the Max & More matte lipstick in the shade 328 Love Story. Essence Choose Your Glow highlighter in the shade Candlelit Glow. And my lashes are by Libby Beauty Stella lashes, which are my big fluffy boys. For this look, I used the shades Love You a Lotte, Dark Magic, Sunset, Smoothness, and Sangria. And then, of course, this gel shade called Chillin' on top. The gel is a no. The rest, lovely. Next look. For the third look, I wanted to get more into the brown tone shade instead of the red tone shades. I've already done two kind of more creative looks that I'm able to do with this palette. So I wanted to just do more of a simple look for the last look that I wanted to do. So we're just gonna keep it simple. I have my eyes primed and I'm getting into this shade, Silky Milky. And I'm just gonna blend that all over my crease. Very simple. So it's definitely the kind of formula that you can just stick onto your eyes within a few minutes and you have a nice look. And that's what I like to have with these affordable, everyday kinds of neutral palettes. I wanted to have such an easy formula that I can just slap it on and it works. Okay, so I've laid a base with that shade, very simple, and I'm just going into the matching dark shade, which is that one. And I'm just gonna layer that into the outer corner, just deepening that up. I'm just dragging some of the deeper shade underneath my eye as well, just smoke that up. So then we're gonna get into some shimmers, and first of all I'm going into this shimmer on top, which is called Champagne, and I'm just applying that to the center of the lid. I always like to make like a gradient with shimmers, like going from a deeper shimmer to a lighter shimmer. I think that really levels up a look really easily. Then I'm going into this shade, which is so bright, which is called Golden Hour, and I'm just slapping that onto that inner corner of the lid. And this shade is so extremely sparkly and bright. I do think this lighter shimmer has a bit of the same issue as the other lighter shimmers. So I'm just gonna try the shade with a wet brush just to see if that changes anything. Because I feel like the shade swatches on my fingers so lovely, but as soon as I apply it to my eyes, it just does a bit less than you expect of it. Yeah. Now you can see how really bright that shadow is. I don't know, it's still not really doing what I want it to do. It's a bit weird. You should just use like a glitter glue just to make it really pop. The shadow does function without a glitter glue or a primer, but it just pops so much more when you do use a glitter glue or a primer. So I would really recommend using that. And then I'm going into this really light shimmer shade, which is Oh My. And I'm just popping that into the inner corner. And again, I'm just gonna try and see if it works better with a bit of a base on this side. Yeah, oh gosh, that's definitely better. Do you see that difference? So I think I'm done with the shadow portion of this look, so I'm just quickly gonna add everything that I want to add, and then I'll get right back to you with the finished look. Okay, I'm back with the finished look. This is just such a lovely everyday kind of glam look. I'm not a neutrals person, I've said this so many times before, but recently I've been really loving neutrals, and especially for looks like these, just like I look so nice and put together for the rest of the day. Let's talk a bit about this palette. For this look I used the shades Oh My, Golden Hour, Zzz, Champagne, and Silky Milky. So that's 5 shadows again, so I've used 17 out of the 18 shadows, I'm pretty sure. I just didn't use this one. The deeper shimmers, absolutely lovely. They apply immediately using your fingers. Amazing, so creamy. The mattes are very soft. They blend amazingly. It's just nice. The mattes, the deep shimmers, amazing. The lighter shimmers do need a bit of a tacky base for them to actually pop, so do keep that in mind, but if you do use it, they're absolutely wonderful. The jelly shade is a big no, like I mentioned before. We're not getting into that again, it's just a big no. I am very happy with this palette. The only criticism I would have for it is that loads of the mattes swatch and look on the eyes different than they look in the pan. It doesn't take away that you can make some lovely looks with it. You just have to start learning what the shadows actually look like, you know? So that's kind of the only criticism. Besides that, I really love this palette. I didn't really think I'd love it that much because it's all reddish browns, but there's somehow still a bit of versatility in this palette, and I loved using it. It was so fun, and the shadows blend so well. It's just very easy to use. I would definitely recommend this palette. I forgot to tell you how I finished up this look. The lashes are the Rival Loves Me lashes in Naturally number 2. And on my lips is the Maximore matte lipstick in the shade 333 Cliché. But yeah, I can highly recommend this palette if you're looking for a bunch of easy to work with neutrals. The FAB Factory Seductive Dream palette definitely gets my stamp of approval. It's available at Action for 480 euros or something. If you've already tried it, let me know what you think of it or what you thought of how the shadows seem to perform on camera. Please let me know your opinions on it. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me. If you want to see even more from me, my blog, my socials and my gaming channel are all linked down below, so you can check that out as well. And that's gonna be it for today. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Toodles!